Hey, good afternoon, YouTube. We are back with another trade recap. I hope you had a good Labor Day. We're going to jump in and check out a few trades that I took this morning. I took 2 trades on NIO and 1 on Apple. So we're going to look at the charts, see what the setups were, and see why I took those entries and the exits. Let's go ahead and jump over to the chart. All right, my first trade that I took this morning was a long on NIO. I waited for initial shakeout, which is what I was really hoping to do this morning. I've had a few mornings that were red, so I wanted to kind of slow down at the beginning and let everything shake out. That way I could get my confidence back and, really just take a good setup, something that I felt very confident about. So my first long here, as you can see, was right around the 935 area, and I'm going to circle my entry here. The setup that I was looking for on this one was the ABCD setup, which you can sort of see here, which came out of the open. NIO ran up with a very large amount of volume at the bell. It went up here and then pulled back down for the C. Now, I had initially thought about taking a short at the VWAP for the loss of VWAP, but I was a little bit hesitant to do that because I just saw so much bullish volume and bullish movement on NIO for the past few days. So I kind of hesitated and I waited, and I was glad I did that because right after that, on the next candle, we saw it come down and then touch VWAP right here. Now, when I saw that this didn't go down below VWAP and it continued to move up, I went ahead and took my entry, which I wanted it to be as close as possible to this previous bar where it closed, or I'm sorry, where it opened. So this is where I wanted to take my entry. As you can see, this is where my entry actually filled, which was not that bad. And then we ran up here, and when I went ahead and partialed out, and when I saw that the pattern didn't go ahead and move as high as I wanted, I went ahead and took the rest of my position out. I will say that it would have been nice to hold this a little bit longer and wait for this extended move here that moved well over 41.8. But unfortunately, it didn't continue moving until it pulled back and then moved on up. The only way that I would have been able to hold this for longer would have been if I would have gotten my entry down here around VWAP. Then I could have just sat back and let it run, set my break even and let it push higher. But unfortunately, because of my entry being here, as you can see, these wicks dropped down below my entry twice. So even if I wouldn't have taken my full position out at the top of this candle, I would have gotten stopped out with a break even because I'm not going to let a green trade go red. I'm going to set break even as soon as I take profits. So all in all, I was happy with that trade, and honestly, I like to parcel out a lot more, but I was really glad that I did take the full position out because I was able to maximize this trade in one candle and I didn't get stopped out at break even. So that was my first trade. Let's jump over to the short I took on NIO and look at that. All right, here we are at the third trade of the day and the second trade on NIO. This one I went short at around 957. The reason I took this short was because we had 2 EMAs which were both descending. After NIO found this top here, I really can't draw a straight line, that was horrible. But you can get the idea, it was here, and then I saw the move down. It actually moved below VWAP and then came back, so I was going to let it shake out and do its thing. But again, once I saw this lower high, when I see lower highs and lower lows or vice versa, that's really the telltale signs of, if you want to go long or short. I mean, if you go long on a candle that it continues to make lower lows and lower highs, then you're really going against momentum. It doesn't mean that you can't be successful in the trade, but you're taking a bigger risk. So here you can see that I took this entry right here, and I had a stop loss which was right around here. Normally I like my stop losses around 10 cents. So thankfully, the bulls and the bears fought it out. It was amazing how long this candle just stayed right on the VWAP, right through here. And eventually, as you can see, The bears won this battle, and when it flushed, we had a initial pop. And let's see here, I'm going to grab my crosshair. We went from here, which was, this was my initial entry, right around 41.5, 41.52, and my first partial was at 41.38, 41.37. So that was my quarter. I saw it moving back up. Again, you can see here we have a higher low on this wick. I went ahead and I hit the sell half and go break even at this point here. Once I had the break even order input into the system, I went ahead and scooted it down from here down to the VWAP. I felt like if it was going to move up to VWAP or past it, then I was going to go ahead and just close the order, which I'm glad I did. So I was able to take out both of these profits, and then just, again, this was even a small profit, just a few cents, but I was glad to get out of that. Both of those were green trades. What really would have been good is if, we could have kissed off around this level and moved on down, but, NIO was just very bullish this morning. Now, later in the day, it has sold off a little bit, but I'm not mad with either of these trades. Let's jump over to Apple and check out the short I took there, which was my second trade, and we'll go ahead and conclude everything. So my second trade of the day on Apple was a short, and we went short right around this level here. Now, it looks like this was just a blind entry, and it was pure luck. I wouldn't say as much luck as I would kind of a reversal. As you can see, and one of the big things I want to point out is this volume candle here down at the bottom. This was an incredibly huge volume candle for Apple. I mean, as you can see at the very beginning, this candle here, which was red and sold off at the bell, was very large, and then look how far the volume dropped down. When I saw that, something hit my eye, because Apple had a lot of volume this morning. Even pre-market, it had pretty decent volume, and then it came back up with all these green candles and pushed. Now, I feel like FOMO just grabbed a hold of everybody, and they just wanted to jump in because they knew that it was going to continuously go higher. But this is exactly what I was looking for right here in this. Again, I was actually trading NIO, and I saw this one up top, and I looked at this pattern, and I was like, wait a minute. There's a lot going on Apple right now. Let me jump over there and look at the numbers. And sure enough, I sat and I waited. I waited for this candle right here. You can see it closed with the doji, completely upside wick, and then that's when I had the conviction to take this short. Now, I will say that, as you can see on the candle after I took the short, that it did wick up a little bit. So I did have a stop loss, which was going to be, again, I like 10-cent stop losses. But let's go ahead and grab the pointer, and I will show you exactly the price that it ran up to and where we were sitting at. So here was my entry, and let's go ahead and get an exact price here. The entry was at 155.43. Now, why this is also a key level is because quarters, halves, and 75 cents are, I'm not going to say huge, but they're a big number that folks look at when they're trading. Sometimes you can go into dimes, but again, we're looking at $155 stock. So when I saw this was around 155.50, which was this level here, that was really what I was looking for. If it was going to continue higher, then it was going to need a lot of volume, a lot of buyers to come in around the 50-cent mark and then rip through it. What happened is there were a lot of people that were unwilling to go above that. And when they saw that, everybody got frightened and they started getting rid of their shares. And this is exactly what happened here. And again, this was one of those that I was sitting here watching this. It stayed in this small area right here for what felt like an eternity. But again, it was obviously just a few seconds. And once it sold off, I took my portions here, here, and here. We can't see right now, and this was my last partial here, but this last partial actually coincided exactly with the Camarilla pivot point, and that's why I just wanted to go ahead and get out, because I felt like it was going to bounce off that and continue higher. And as you can see, this is the other beautiful thing about this stock this morning. I want you to look at the 20 moving average and how this respected that 20. How many candles is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles, almost to the T on the 20. And then once it couldn't push through the 20, look what happens. It turns around and it just goes parabolic. Well, not really parabolic, but it went crazy. So this was a really good trade, and again, the size of this was what was really good about it, and being able to get out of that short before it moved much higher. Let's take a look and see what my final exit was. It was around 155.12 with an entry of around 155.41. So that was my best trade of the day. I was really happy that that one moved in my direction. Really just, it was basically a correction. There was so much volume and so much, there was just so many people pushing it up that it got really super extended over all these EMAs and the VWAP. And, I went ahead and took the chance, took the short, and it paid off. So thank you guys for checking out these trades. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.